Hello, I'm Dan Ware. This is our first Frankly Franklin program of 2006, so let me wish everyone a Happy New Year. I hope 2006 will be a good year for all of us. I'm pleased to have as my guest on this segment someone who has seen a few New Years come and go. Miss Allie Clark is with me today, and she is, I believe, 96 years old. Is that right, Miss Clark?
That's right.
96, and from all appearances, she's still going strong. So I've asked her to come in and reminisce a little bit about her memories of Franklin and her life over those 96 years. But before I do that, I'm a little curious. Now, New Year's Day is coming up. We're actually taping this on Friday. Are you going to be up to ring out the old year and see the new year in? All right. So you're not one of those people that goes to bed with the chickens then?
No, chicken go on.
All right, but you're going to stay up. Well, good for you. Well, let me take you back. You're 96, so you would have been born in what, 1909?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is your birthday?
October the 3rd, 1909, on a Sunday morning.
On a Sunday morning. Okay.
I've got a calendar that year.
Have you? Yeah.
So I know I'm telling the truth. So.
Okay. So you were born right here in Simpson County then?
On Linus Hamlin's farm.
Okay. So...
Mary Jo Law lives there now.
Okay.
The little house is gone, but that's the place.
Okay.
That's the farm I was born on.
Right.
My parents lived on 31W, my grandparents.
Okay.
That's where I live with most of them.
So you would have been born at home. There wasn't, people didn't go to the hospital or anything to have babies back then, did they?
No,
Yeah.
But Dr. Gossett was the doctor.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And he was a young doctor at
Okay.
that time.
Then did you continue to see him for several years?
Sure did. He was our family doctor.
Okay. I guess he's a little bit before my time. I don't
Yes.
remember him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So did you grew up then on a farm here?
Absolutely.
Okay. Did you have any brothers and sisters?
Has two half-sisters.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's some of the earliest things you can remember about your childhood?
Well, one of them, Dad out in mind, was Charlie Cardle place.
Okay.
Called
Yeah.
Cardle Hill. He lived
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Out south of town.
And we went to town in a wagon.
Uh-huh.
Come back by, we stopped, and I had a stepdaddy.
Uh-huh.
And he got out, and we went to the back up this Sharp's Branch, it was called.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
kind of at the foot of Caudle Hill, isn't it?
Right.
Okay.
Branch is still there. Well,
Right.
Well, yes.
Okay.
But that's where, and he got us back there, my stepdaddy was going to get whiskey for Christmas.
Okay. Yeah.
And he did. He got a tall bottle. I remember that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Got it from a bootlegger, I guess. Or somebody that was making his own.
Somebody's doing it.
Moonshiner.
I knew I was supposed to call names or not, but I knew who it was.
Well, he's probably not around any longer to defend himself,
No,
so
nobody in the
I don't
family.
guess it matters.
It's Charlie Cardle.
Okay.
That's
All
Cardle
right.
Hill.
Okay.
And he put that whiskey, hold a big box up and slept, set it in that box, had a wire to it and tied it to a bush. Let the cold water run through and cool it till we waited till he got down till he got the whiskey. And that was the funniest thing I ever saw.
Uh-huh.
Because there was all that apparatus, the big old, I didn't know what it was.
Uh-huh.
Still don't know.
How old were you then?
8 years old.
8 years old. Okay. All right. So let that water from the branch cool it there.
Right, that's right. And the box had a sided box.
Yeah. Well, what did he do? Did he just leave the money on a stump or something? I guess
No,
he had to pay
paid
for
him.
it.
It's paid him right then.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We come on to my grandparents. They lived where Doc Hall. I don't know if you know where Doc Hall
I
is.
do. Yes. Yes.
Well, they own on that side. My grandparents did. And that's why, and Ada Bell's parents on the other side, and the
Okay.
grandparents.
All right.
That's why we grew up together.
Well, now, do you remember, I don't know if they called it, probably didn't call it 31W then, but the road,
It's the
called
pike.
It was the pike. That's what
Yeah,
they called it.
it
Okay.
was a pike. Uh-huh.
Was it paved, or was it gravel, or dirt, or what was
It
it?
was rocks.
Just a rock.
Just
yeah.
good side rock road.
Kind of a rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we would, when I was a child, I'd sit up there and watch motorcycles go by, and they'd weave in them rocks.
Uh-huh.
And they was good size rocks.
Big size rocks. Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you first remember, was most of the traffic horse and buggy, or was there a good many cars? Or
just service and buggies,
yeah.
wagons. And the third Monday, they come through the going to third Monday.
Right. Mule
Day.
Right.
They got to call it Mule Day,
Uh-huh.
which we did have. They come through there just to
be a court day.
And
Yeah.
I'd planned to be there where I could see them.
Yeah.
Because I spent a lot of my time there.
Yeah. So there'd be a lot of
And I
lot of
eloped
people
when I was
going by.
15 and a half years old.
Uh-huh.
Married 50 and a half years to Charlie before he
Good.
passed away.
Charlie Clark.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you were telling me you were born a Hendricks, is
Yes,
that
sir.
right?
Mhm.
Okay. How did you and Charlie meet?
Well, they moved down there. His people that reared him lived with him. 'Cause he's an orphan.
Uh-huh.
And he was 18 years old, and I got acquainted with him.
Uh-huh.
He had to come to well for water.
Okay.
And my mother, his grandpa, we called him, he was at the point of death, and she had to go down there a lot. And I stayed at home with the little half-sisters and taking care of them.
Okay.
And that's how it come me to know, get acquainted with him.
I see.
Because we coded through the window because Mother told him never to come up there. No, we're not. Because you can look down through the house and see their house.
Uh-huh.
No, not coming.
But he wasn't supposed to come in your house.
No, but we courted through that window.
Through the window. Yeah?
That's where we courted.
Okay.
And one night she was gone, and he said, he proposed to me 3 or 4 weeks before that.
Through the window.
Through the window. It's one old log house.
Uh-huh.
Old big old log house.
Yeah, yeah.
And the window was thick through.
Yeah, yeah. So you said yes then, huh?
Yeah, and one night he said that one night afternoon, it was a pretty sick of me, and he said, "What do you think if we can get off tonight? I said we can try it."
Uh-huh.
And I had some step-half sisters was out that night too. They're still younger.
Uh-huh.
My mother and their neighbor gone to sit up as grandpa,
Yeah.
and I pretended I was going to dress up, and then I got the best dress I had and put on all the best clothes on.
Uh-huh.
And I fixed supper for all that bunch. There's 4 or 5 of them. And I fixed it, me and them, got them all in the bed, most of them what I could.
Right.
And I said, let's play hide and seek. They said, okay.
Uh-huh.
I went around behind the house. They did. I went around and I got to counting ahead.
Uh-huh.
And by that time he come along the buggy.
Yeah.
And I jumped in the buggy, it was gone.
And off you's gone. Well, did you all find a preacher to marry you then?
We went to Mitchell, where we were supposed to, and Fred Grove was supposed to marry us.
Okay.
But he'd gone to show that night. So we was afraid they'd catch up with us as young as I was.
Right. Right.
We went to Portland, Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
And the night watch him. I started asking him while there, and he said, "Yeah, there's a preacher right down here,
Okay.
and a Church of Christ preacher married us."
Uh-huh.
But I was born up in the church.
Okay.
But I never told him or nothing. 'Cause I was
Uh-huh.
afraid I would get caught in the jungle.
He might say, yeah, okay. But he went on, he married you then.
He married
okay.
just the same. He asked me, "What year was you born?" And Charlie said, "I knowed you was going to get caught there." I said, "Oh no." I said, 1906. Just reared back big as anybody.
And he said, okay, 1906.
That's what he put on. He said, "You sure don't look it."
Uh-huh.
Well, it's 15 and a half years old.
Yeah?
I didn't weigh but about 110 pounds.
Is that right?
Oh,
Yeah.
they didn't weigh that
Yeah.
much.
Well, did y'all have a place to live after you got married, being that young, or what did you
His
do?
sister, we come back to his house and lived that year with them,
Okay.
1925,
Okay.
from April until January.
Mm-hmm.
We lived in the house with them and moved out of Mr. Pop home with a little old 2-room house
Uh-huh.
and just one big room in the kitchen. And we lived there till I had 3 children.
Uh-huh.
I like 18 days, been married a year. When I wanted to be a year, but it wasn't.
Uh-huh.
Just like 18 days. And I had, in
When you
4
first
years,
went.
I had 3 children.
Uh-huh. Well, they was close together then, weren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were good children.
Okay.
Very extra good, considering it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there wasn't nothing going on like this now. No more.
Right, right.
No. Happy, we was just happy as people are.
All right. So, farming, I mean, that's how you made your living from...
We farmed from that on, and in 1935, we lived at Paul Garrett's. We moved there to Hayden Snyder's, which
Okay.
is kin folks.
Right.
I lived there 8 years.
Okay.
And Mr. Levin Richards bounced us to sell us the farm.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's about 200 and some acres. And Charlie said, "No, we could never pay for it." I said, yes, we can. We're going to buy it. We're going to buy it.
Uh-huh.
And I was just having a fit. And Joe Clark,
Yeah.
Charlie's first cousin,
Okay.
said to him, he said, "Charlie, if you get in trouble, I'll help you out."
Okay.
He said, "You better listen to her."
Uh-huh.
We bought it. Third year we lived there, we had it paid for.
Really?
Just
Did all right then.
$6,000 for it.
Uh-huh.
And paid
For how
500
many acres?
297, I think it
Well,
was.
boy.
Anyway,
Price of land's changed.
it's a
hasn't
big
it?
old
Yeah.
farm.
Uh-huh.
I still got it.
Yeah.
Got people.
So, had to farm it with mules, I guess, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, did you get out and work in the fields every day? Or
every day.
Every day?
Mm-hmm.
And then have to come in and cook after you
Yeah,
got done in the field?
went to raising heifer calves and went to milking.
Yeah.
Now I milked 25 with myself.
Is that right?
That way.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of that, yeah. And you got to do that every day,
Oh, yeah.
twice a day, yeah.
It had to be done.
Yeah.
Absolutely had
Doesn't
to be
matter
done.
what the weather's like either, does it?
No. And we didn't have electricity till 1952.
52, yeah.
Down there.
Yeah.
I wore them out, going back as far as to ask them about it. I
Yeah.
kept it up. Then I wandered the road rocked, rather. And every Tuesday nearly, each every other Tuesday, I'd go to the courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
I know they got tired of looking at me. I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I wandered the road. So finally got that done.
Okay.
Then I sat in and asked the telephone.
Okay.
Electric lights was next, though. We
Yeah.
got them. Finally got there. Then I sat down at the telephone and I kept on and worried. So I
Yeah.
got enough signed up and I got that.
All right.
And now it's blacktop right around by the house.
Yeah. What about indoor plumbing?
It was outdoors.
Okay. All right. Had to go out to the outhouse. Yeah.
It's a two-holer.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
they called them, you know.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
all
We
we
had a
know.
three-holer. I guess we were.
Oh,
thought
you
we
live
were
a bit
something.
luckier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that was a two-holer.
Yeah. And it on a cold morning, that'd wake you up.
Sure would. I told them I was born in cob time. And if you didn't have a scissor road book catalog, you used your cob.
Corn cob, yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, that wasn't too bad. People,
That's what they said. I didn't do it, but I attempted sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
But I didn't do it.
Well, what, besides milking the cows, what did y'all raise tobacco and corn? And
Corn, wheat, soybeans.
Yeah.
That's where them did
Yeah.
things.
So did you have did your children go out and helping? Did you,
Oh, yes.
they had chores to do and had
Oh,
to get
yeah.
a help?
They come in, they pulled their clothes off, hung them up, went to the field.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't washed every time either. There
Mhm.
was no doing it.
Right.
And
right.
they'd come in, help us hold the tobacco and things like that. And my children worked.
Yeah. Well, back then, I mean, everybody's kids, I think, had to
Worked, yeah.
pitch in
Mhm,
and help
yeah,
out.
uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
But we had 8 happy years at Sage and Snyder's.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Snyder children run mine, and they all just like one big family.
Mm-hmm.
And they loved each other, and they got along good.
Mm-hmm.
I was told when I first moved, you'll never get along with Miss Snyder. They thought that, you know.
Uh-huh.
I said, well, I've never had no trouble with nobody. I lived there 8 years. When I got ready to move away, she hugged, kissed me, and cried.
Really? Yeah. Well, that's
So that's
good.
how we got
That's
along.
good. Yeah.
And she was good to me as good could be.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And Mr. Snyder was in a wheelchair. Well,
Living in the country there, did you all go to town on Saturdays, or how often did you get to Franklin?
when we bought the farm, we had an old 36 Dodge.
Okay.
That's what we used then.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a brood mare, too, and it had mules. And the first thing you know, we had 2 teams of mules.
Uh-huh.
And I broke one of them myself here. Old Buck Billy, we called him.
Yeah.
And he'd mind me just a tea, but a man couldn't touch him hardly.
Hmm.
He just
Knew your voice and would respond to
That's
you.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, they can be stubborn sometimes.
Tell me about it. Mm-mm.
But would you all, where would you go to buy your groceries? How much stuff would you get at the store? I guess you raised most of it yourself.
Practically all of it. That was
Yeah.
sprout we put up there, and that was just a little of it.
Yeah.
I put up 100 cans of tomatoes,
Yeah.
Maybe 75, 80 of beans, and just
Great big garden every
And we
year.
would kill a hog apiece,
Okay.
one for each head, 5 hogs.
Okay.
And we always pick out a heifer calf,
Yeah.
weigh about 500 or 600 pounds.
Yeah.
Have her butchered,
Okay.
and then we'd put a can all of that and put it
Mhm.
up. And
Well, how did you keep that meat before you got electricity
We
and had
canned
a
it.
freezer?
we canned it.
Canned all that
We
meat.
canned it.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Mhm. Yeah, I canned it. Always had, and Pat Lynn will tell you today, she used to be the best tenderloin she'll put in her mouth.
Yeah, I bet that's right. Yeah.
Because you put them jars, slice it, stack it
Yeah.
in there,
Yeah.
let it cook in its own grease,
Okay.
and it was just best
Yeah.
meat.
Well, now the time you're talking about, that was kind of when the Depression was on. Did you all ever go hungry? Did you realize that the
No,
country
we
was in
didn't
a
go
depression?
hungry, but we worked.
Yeah.
Because you got 50 cents a day,
That was what the wage was, 50 cents a day.
and you could buy a 24-pound sack of flour,
Uh-huh.
99 cents.
Right.
H.G. Hill and Franklin,
Uh-huh.
that's when they was here.
Uh-huh. Well, I guess that I've heard it said, though, that in some ways the people that lived out in the country came through the Depression better than the people in town because they could, you know, they could grow their own food.
Now I'm stuck back, and I'm sure they did because it's just crazy when you bring vegetables things to them is all.
Right.
And I had kinfolks in town, and they were so happy to get them. We just had plenty of everything to eat.
Well, did you all buy your clothes ready-made, or did you do a lot of sewing?
No, I sewed every night nearly.
Is that right?
My daughter went to high school when she started high school, was 13 years old. She's in ninth grade. She finished 8, and I had to make her clothes at night. Made the boys' shirts, done all of that. It was work all the time, though. There was no stopping place whatsoever.
Well, now, well, your children are all grown up now. What did they wind up doing after they got grown?
Well, the oldest boy went in termite business. He had a business of his own in Bowling Green.
Okay.
He was in that, and then he had 4 children. And then the other boy, he went to work at the pet milk company. He worked at 26 years.
Okay.
Until they closed out. I don't know how long.
Right.
And now he's doing a good check. Now he has got his business of his own now.
Okay.
He's going good.
Good.
Owns a lot of property in Bowling Green.
Uh-huh.
In good shape. And Mama lives here in town.
Okay.
And they're all right.
Okay, well, that's good.
They're a happy couple, and I'm proud for them.
Yeah. Who, you was born, you said, in 1909. Who's the first president of the United States that you remember?
I can't remember, but I remember this much. I can remember she couldn't vote. And Mr. Virgil Hamlins was running for judge.
Yeah.
And he furnished a buggy and the horse, Jones, for her to carry voters to Lake Spring to vote.
Okay.
And she'd get 2 ladies in there.
Yeah.
Take them, come back getting some more. And she drove all day long.
Bringing people to the polls to vote.
And I know she couldn't vote. That's back before women could vote. Now, what year
women
was
got to vote, what, about 1920, something like that, maybe?
I know she couldn't vote. I remember
that time
that.
she couldn't, but she's bringing other people to vote.
She did. And Mr. Virgil picked me on how I had to do it, pick it up like that, pull it up, put pranking with me. And I can remember him thanking her for doing that. And he paid her. And I think it's $5. I wouldn't say for sure. But I know she's really glad to get it.
Yeah.
Because back then, cash money, most chickens, eggs. And we sold milk. Oh, I don't know how, cream for several years.
Okay.
Before we were selling milk. Then we bought these baby calves and put them on a bottle.
Right.
And went to milking them. The first thing you know, we had a herd.
Yeah.
And we done that for several years. Then put in milkers. Did that, and I just give out nearly.
Yeah, I can imagine. You milk 25 by hand, you said? That's a lot. Twice a day.
Yeah, but he had to help me on the morning. Charlie did.
Yeah.
But he'd be in the field at work.
Right.
And I'd quit whatever I was doing in the field, maybe if I wanted to, and go to the house, go to milking.
Yeah.
And I'd practically have them all done until he got there. If he wasn't, he'd help me.
Yeah. About what time would the day start for you then?
3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock in the morning.
You could set your clock by that light coming on in the barn.
At 3 o'clock.
We got to electricity then.
Yeah.
And you could set your clock.
So by the time the sun came up, the milking was all done then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, would you carry a lantern to the barn to?
Well, lanterns hanging over the barn.
Yeah.
Before that.
Yeah.
Then, of course, we had lanterns. We had 6 lanterns.
Yeah. And then after the milking got done, would you come back to the house, cook a big breakfast?
After my daughter was, I helped her ready early, and she'd have her breakfast just about ready when we got to the house.
Yeah. Well, then would you?
And the boys helped us too. They come out to the barn.
Okay.
While they was home, and they married and left. And
yeah.
Of course, they had their own.
Well, if you was out working in the field, who cooked dinner?
I did.
So would you go in a little earlier than the rest of them and get the dinner on the table?
Well, I put a whole lot on that morning.
Oh, okay, and just had it ready.
I had it almost cooked.
Yeah. Did you all have one of those dinner bells that you would ring?
2 of them.
2 of them?
I had 2. And I still got one in my backyard.
Do you? Yeah. Why'd you have 2?
One was close to the house, the other at the barn.
Oh, okay. So you could ring it from either place. And you could hear when somebody was there. Yeah.
I remember digging the post hole and putting them in.
Yeah.
And in 1956, I had a little breast operation and went to Nashville. And I was in the hospital all day long. Well, hospital, what it was out there. And I done, and that's the only time I was ever in the hospital till I never was in the hospital till bought the farm. Well, lived up here.
Well, was it all work, or did y'all have any time to play any games or any recreation or anything?
When we was close to Peden's Mill, we'd
Yeah.
go down there every Sunday evening.
Okay.
Get back, we went to church.
Uh-huh.
That was a one-room semi done.
Where'd you go to church?
Tyrese Chapel.
Tyree Chapel, yeah.
I growed up in that church.
All right.
In fact,
Still
I
there
didn't,
today.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that's all one was.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where we went to church, right
Okay.
there.
And then on Sunday afternoon, you'd go to the
Peden's Mill.
Peden's Mill.
See, they didn't have no service Sunday night.
Okay. So would you swim, picnic? What would you do there?
The kids did.
Yeah,
They go to that creek and swim like everything.
yeah.
Mama was 5 years old when she's, well, you're 5, when she started swimming.
Uh-huh.
And both the boys had already been swimming.
Right, right.
I swam when I first married. And I decided my children needed a mother versus they needed somebody grounded. So I quit trying it.
So you gave that up.
I
huh?
gave that up.
That wasn't your thing necessarily. All right.
Of course, all that, Charlie and all the kids could swim.
Yeah.
They all did
Yeah.
that. Mm-hmm.
Well, would you all carry a picnic lunch or anything? Or
Yeah.
Just,
Oh, yeah.
Spread out a blanket or
And we
whatever?
go to creek bottom to work, and that's my piece. We take a lunch down
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
We'd enjoy it, go to creek, drink the creek water. It
Yeah.
didn't kill us.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend doing that now, but
No.
at that day and time, I'm sure it was fine.
Well, when we
Well, what about in the wintertime when it was cold? What would you do for fun in the wintertime?
stayed in the house. Of course, it would have been in the house, but in
Yeah.
the daytime, there's most of the wood to cut, to get in, the cows to milk. It was pretty busy.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of free time.
No, you did not.
Yeah.
No.
Well, now, speaking of free time, I guess in a way this is free time. When I called you up to ask you to come do this, you told me that you joined the homemakers back in the 30s, I believe, right?
36.
Tell me a little bit about the homemakers and how you got started in that.
Well, we moved to Snyder's,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Hayden Snyder's, and in July, Miss Snyder, Miss Lady, as I called her, she had the homemakers to her house.
Okay,
And Jane Dice was a homemaker.
okay.
And she is talking to me. Am I right? Yes, she's the one married Arnold.
Right. Oh,
Right.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
her.
Yeah,
And
so it became Jane Arnold. Okay.
Yeah, and-
I didn't know her, but Jane died when you said that. That was before
Yeah,
she
yeah,
married
that's where she married. Because
Before
that
she
day,
married.
that's all we could hear is Arnold.
Right.
We teased
right.
her about it. I can remember that very well. And she said, asked me about joining.
Uh-huh.
And Miss Lila Snyder said, I've asked her half a dozen times. And I said, well, my education's too limited. And Miss Jane said to me, she just come to my shoulder and shook me a little. She said, you listen to me, you come on and join this. And I did.
Mm-hmm.
And from that on, I didn't miss a meeting until, it's a while back I missed one. Because I was sick.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a reasonable excuse. So you joined, what would you say, 36?
Yeah.
So that's been almost, this coming up on 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah, 70 years ago.
July the 23rd.
Yeah,
And Mama's birthday is at 26.
yeah.
That's what-
How often would the homemakers meet?
Once a month.
Once a month.
I had this little 3-room house. It's practically new, but it's
Yeah.
3 rooms. Looks
Okay.
like a freight train. Here in your boxcar lined up.
Kind of a shotgun house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it really wasn't. It was just a draw along out.
okay.
And
But all the club members would come to
And I had 'em
somebody's
too.
house each time.
yeah, and I had them just like, and Miss Snyder said, are you going to have that little house? I said, sure I am.
Yeah,
I'm not ashamed of it. I said, it's clean and nice. It's a Christian home.
yeah.
And she said, well, that's all right then. Miss Lila
Okay.
was the funniest one. That's
Uh-huh.
I don't want you ever knowed her or not.
Not really, no.
Oh, she was the sweetest old thing you ever.
Uh-huh.
She'd get you tickled. If you never
Yeah.
had a laugh, she'd get
Yeah.
tickled.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, we just had the best time. And I said, ooh, we just shot 'em up today.
Mm-hmm. Well, so the homemaker, y'all would get together and what,
Have
have
a
a
lesson.
lesson on something? and
Have a
then-
lesson now. Well, it's like I do now.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, they said, oh, you didn't have them and you did I said, I got the pictures to prove it.
Mm-hmm. Well, now, you all did a lot of community-type projects, too, didn't you?
Oh, now we do. Yeah,
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Well, what were some of those?
Back then it was different. We made trays and this weight baskets and done painting and made pictures, P-I-T-C-H,
Mhm.
little ones, you know.
Right,
Had
right.
always had someone going to doing.
Uh-huh.
And I still got some of that junk.
Yeah, yeah,
But we always enjoyed it.
yeah.
I made 79 of those waiters. It wasn't for me, but all the members said, all you do is so good, we'll let you do it.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Well, I guess back when you started, was there a lot of women in Simpson County that belonged to, there's several different clubs, right?
Yeah, oh yes, back then
Okay.
there was. Back then we called ours South Simpson, now it's Lake Spring.
I see. Okay,
Back then it was South Simpson.
okay.
And you saw what a group they had.
Oh, yeah, you showed me a picture there.
And
Yeah.
that little 3-room house.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Well, you had that house full, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. But now you had that group together. Picture you showed me in the house you live now. That wasn't all that many years ago, was it?
No.
When you had them.
See, I joined when I left South Simpson. I went to Shady Grove.
Uh-huh.
And I joined Mr. Shady Grove.
Yeah, yeah.
I went regular there.
Well, the people that you knew back then.
But I knew some of them every club because we'd get together once a year here at the library.
Uh-huh. Everybody, all the clubs.
All the clubs did. And I knew them nearly everywhere, all over the county then.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, everybody knew me. And
yeah.
it was just a good get-together.
Yeah. Are most of those people, are they, I guess a lot of them are gone
All
now,
gone.
aren't they? Yeah.
Practically all gone, uh-huh.
You still have some of your friends from way back when still with you though, right?
Yeah, we visit. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But there's not many of them living.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get to be 96. I guess you got to expect that, right?
That's right. I said I couldn't ask anybody anything because they didn't know nothing.
Yeah, yeah,
The ones that I know, they're gone.
yeah. Well, do you ever wish you'd had a chance to live somewhere else other than in Franklin and Simpson County?
No way.
No?
No. It's just happy.
Yeah?
Everybody, I lived a good, clean life. So did Charlie. He didn't drink or didn't smoke when we first married, and he quit that.
And you all were together for
15 and a half years.
15 and a half years, okay.
Yep.
And you got married when you was 15.
15 and a half.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and they say sometimes when you marry young, it doesn't last. I guess you proved it
Well,
wrong.
we had more love than we had anything else.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why it lasted.
Yeah. Now, in more recent years, I believe you told me you were married to Mr. Sloan, Mr. Guy Sloan, right? Okay.
We married in 79, and he died in 95.
Okay. Now, when you were married to him, were you still living out in the country at that time?
Yeah. That's why I bought and moved to Franklin, because of his mind.
I see. Okay. So you've been living in town since?
Set in 87.
Okay. So 18 years or so. But was it hard after living in the country all those years to adjust to living in town?
I had him to wait on. See, he was in bed 5 years and 4 months before he passed away.
So that was.
And I had him to wait on them many years.
Right, right.
And he just didn't. They didn't do him on you at just hard times. And I never regretted a minute of it while I was with him. He's a very, very good person.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that they weren't able to be around as long as you were to enjoy life as much, but I'm glad you had good times while they were here. What else were you involved in besides the homemakers? What other kind of community doings did you get involved in?
Well, it was Halloween. It was still the homemakers having Halloweens and this and that, and I'd be right in there too.
You like the Halloween holiday? You like
anything
the
coming
dressing
up
and the,
I don't have a picture. It used to be Mule Day, and we rode around the square in the wagon, and I didn't ever get a picture of that.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, that would bring in a whole lot of people, wouldn't it?
Oh, I've got a picture of Mule Day.
Yeah.
You don't look like, and we had been at parade, but they didn't get our picture. I don't know why, but.
Well, would you have been there? You know, there was a time or two that they had something on nationwide radio from Mule Day in Franklin. They had a movie star.
Yeah, I saw her
come
there.
in one day. Were you in the crowd for that?
I was in the crowd. Yeah.
How would you say that Franklin has changed from what you remember back Depression times and World War II and Mule Day to now? Does it seem like the same place to you, or does it seem a lot different?
It gradually changed.
Yeah.
And that made a difference. It's just now it's doing it fast. But back then it just gradually. It wasn't as quick as they are now.
Right.
We'd go to town, come to town in a wagon. I never one horse wagon.
Yeah.
It had 2 seats, and of course we're just 7 miles from town. Wouldn't take long. And I'd say, we'll soon be in town. You know, old Ella Cross's house. She was a house of repute. But I didn't know it.
Oh, okay.
Mama done what they'd said. And I know there was, I didn't know what it meant. I was over there talking to something, because she said, oh, here's Ella. She's had her sign hanging out or something like that. And you know, we don't talk in front of kids.
Right. Right.
Mama said I always remembered everything and had my bill and everybody's talking because I remembered everything. And Granny Jake said, she said, well, if you forget anything, just ask her.
You remember, yeah. Yeah.
I was the pick of the family. My mother was a baby of 8 children. Then I was their pick.
Yeah. Well, you were showing me some pictures before we started of you and some of the other ladies all dressed up for, you had a big cleanup campaign, and tell me a little bit about that and what y'all did.
Well, I can't who started it. I can't remember just who started it, but anyway, they're going to show something in it. And Miss Maud Alexander, she's in that picture.
Yeah.
I know you remember her, baby.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
don't.
Yeah.
Well, she said, let's get something up, and us women. We get women do things. You know how she was.
Right.
Well, she comes, that's why I shall call me to join the home ec too, but she didn't call Miss Maud.
Right.
And she said, well, we did, got up, and I got right into it. We got the baskets to put the junk in, picked up some load before we got there, before we have some.
Yeah.
And got the other girls and women too. Didn't many of them do it? They would do it. See, I had to walk around that square then.
Yeah.
Carrying them old bags.
Yeah.
But we done it.
I guess you wouldn't be what they'd call a shy person, would you?
No. My mother always told me that. She never sees a stranger.
Yeah. Well, that's good though, right?
Yeah. Ada, she wouldn't talk. She said, oh, no.
let you do the talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd say they picked a pretty good candidate.
I know when I tried to start another homemaker club at Gold City.
Yeah.
And I said, it didn't enough of them come on. I said, you all got to come on and be here every time.
Well, now let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned that Jane Arnold was
She married just a short time after.
Right.
Now, that was in 36.
Okay. And
the next one we had was Alice Penn.
okay. Now, I never knew her.
Well,
Okay.
she was a pretty woman.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, what
And
about...
She was real sweet to me.
Okay.
She'd bring people out there to see my house, little 3-bedroom house.
Mm-hmm.
And I paid 5 cents a yard for my curtains, make my curtains.
Yeah.
And that was a price back then, 5 cents a yard. And I made curtains for all
Well,
the
what
house.
kind of material did you use to make them out of? Do you remember?
Lace.
Oh, lace curtains.
Lace
Okay.
curtains,
All
uh-huh.
right. Well, I guess it's worth that price then. Yeah. Now, Pearl Snyder wasn't she home ec agent?
She was
for
the
a while?
last one we had
Yeah.
until, who
And
was
then
it?
Rowena Sullivan was in for a long
She
time.
was our last one.
Yeah,
Rowena was.
yeah. Well, it was
yeah.
Kathy John, but Rowena, yeah, and I knew Rowena quite well. So y'all had some good.
Rowena's a
people.
good person,
Yeah.
a real good person.
Well, tell me this: have you made any plans for how you're going to celebrate your 100th birthday 4 years from now?
I haven't thought about it because I don't believe I'll make it.
Well, you need to have a positive attitude about
As
that.
I told my daughter the other day, I said, I don't believe I'll make it, but I'm ready. And I said, that counts more than anything.
Well, always be ready, but
Right.
Yeah, but
But
still,
I'm ready.
I hope you make it to 100. I think you'd make a pretty. We'll try to get you to come back when you're 100. How about that?
So, yeah, I'll come
All
back.
right, so you got to hang on now, so that you can come back and talk to me on your 100th birthday.
My mother died young, but I have outlived all in my family. All her sisters and brothers living up to be around 80, all of them were, except her, my mother. She had TB. And she caught that waiting on her neighbor. Think about that.
But now you're still doing your own driving, right? Doing your own and living by yourself. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Get out and go to church on Sunday.
Every Sunday night and Tuesday night and Tuesday morning.
Do your own shopping and all that.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, that's good that you can do all that at 96. That's
It
real
done
good.
bother me. It's like the Christmas back bothers me.
Yeah.
He said it always would, and it has.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, have you got?
I have bad days with it. Ooh-wee.
Yeah. Well, is there anything that you have that before your time is up that you would like to do? Anything you always wanted to do that you didn't get to do, or have you pretty much got to
it
do?
sounds silly, but I have a first cousin lives in Chapel Hill, Tennessee, and I have asked several to drive for him. I don't drive that far. See, I stay in town.
Yeah, don't drive on out. Yeah, understandable.
So I've got a promise that they'll take me, but that's one of my greatest things, go see her.
Well, I hope it'll get to where you can do that. Now, you told me you had taken a few trips outside of Simpson County,
I
right?
went to Hawaii with Mama and Woody
Okay.
and Miss Goodrow.
Okay. Well, now, I'm not the first person to interview you. You were telling me that somebody interviewed you, and it was on the radio, I believe, and they heard it out in California. Tell us that story.
Well, it's Edith Hauser, his son.
Okay.
Works at the hospital.
Yeah.
And he didn't know nobody. I mean, he asked him, this man did, I don't know, he's in the medical business.
Uh-huh.
Asked him, did he know of anybody that had shingles?
Yeah.
And he studied, he said, yes, I've got a friend.
Okay.
Well, he called me, not on the telephone. I said, yeah, just far away.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I know.
Okay.
And I said, I said, I sure did. I'm 90 years old. I had them. I'm still scratching. It's scratch disease.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Well, he asked me what I used and what I've done and all of that, and that's what I told him.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know whether it's a new medicine coming out or why he asked me those questions.
But this was on the radio.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And somebody heard it
in California. Uh-huh.
And recognized your voice.
Uh-huh. She knows me.
Because they used to live here, or how did she know you?
Now, she's Jane Hayes, I can tell you. I believe that's who she said she was.
Yeah,
you know?
didn't she lived here and worked at the shirt factory, I believe?
It's somebody worked here, yeah. And
okay.
It's Adabelle's friends.
Okay.
But she knows me, too.
Okay. And recognized your voice after all this time?
And she said, I just pulled over and stopped the car and right still and sat there and listened at it.
Uh-huh.
That night, she called Adabelle.
Okay.
Said, Adabelle, I heard Allie on the radio today.
Uh-huh.
And Adabelle didn't know that I'd even been interviewed.
Right. So
because she didn't know, but it was new to her.
Yeah.
And I said, yes, I did.
Yeah.
I said, Clara, California. Now, what it was, he was advertising. Well, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I figured something about the shingles.
Well, maybe so. Well, we're going to turn you into a celebrity. You've been on the radio, now you've been on TV, so we make a celebrity out of you. Uh-huh. Well, I've enjoyed talking to you. The time that we're allotted to do this is just about up, so we're going to have to wind it up. But I'm glad we got together to talk, and I hope we can do it again sometime, okay?
And I've done lots of them. I'm not bragging about my grandchildren, because I just got 46.
Was that all?
That's all.
Well, that's hardly worth mentioning. 46. All right. Now, you only had 3 children, but out of that 46...
And Mama doesn't have any children. And the oldest boy had 4, and the other one had 5.
Uh-huh.
And I said something about him. I said, you've got too many children. And he said, well, the Bible said to multiply. And I said, but it didn't tell you to do it all.
Well, he meant to do his part, I guess.
But he loves his children, and every one of them are well-educated, nice home.
Oh, that's good.
All of them. All my grandchildren are.
That's good.
The oldest grandson is a lawyer in Lexington.
Uh-huh.
And he has done good.
Good.
And Brother Chavan, Dick Chavan's son, remember him?
I do.
He worked under him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Brother, we called him.
Okay.
Brother worked under my grandson.
Okay.
And I don't know what become of Brother. I mean, I don't know where he is now.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think you've had a interesting and
I have had a good life, and I've
lived life,
and a good, clean life.
Well, that's good. That may be why you're still here today at 96.
I don't drink coffee. I don't drink beer. I have never tasted beer. I don't drink. I've never drank it. I don't like. I never use bad language.
Now you don't drink coffee at all. What about iced tea?
No, don't
drink
that.
that either. Okay, water and milk. Is that it?
That's right.
Okay.
And every 3 days I drink a gallon of milk.
A gallon and 3. That's pretty. Yeah. All right. Maybe that keeps your bones
Somebody
strong.
else asked, would I save them some jugs? I said, just get me a few weeks. They wanted jugs.
Yeah.
I thought.
Well, now, are you able to eat whatever you want to eat, or
anything I want, no matter what it is.
Okay. What do you like to eat? What's your favorite?
Vegetables and fruit.
Well, that's the healthiest stuff.
Now.
That's healthy more healthy than all
well,
that.
that's what I can take a fruit salad and make a meal off of it.
Yeah.
Anything the way with cabbage, I eat a cabbage head anytime.
Well, I'm with you on that. I like that cabbage.
I do too. Turnips, I love turnips.
Not so much on the turnips.
I ate a bowl Lord, yesterday.
Yeah. They're all right, but I wouldn't want to eat them as often as I'd eat the cabbage.
Oh, yeah, I have cabbage every day, as far as that's concerned. But
yeah.
I'm going to have cabbage New Year's Day and hog jam and black-eyed peas.
Well, I'm tend to have that too. Yeah.
I've already got it.
Yeah. You like cornbread or biscuits?
Cornbread.
Cornbread. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah.
And crackling bread. Ooh-wee.
Yeah. Been a while since I've had that crackling bread.
Well,
that's pretty good. We have that in Kill Hogs. Yeah.
Yeah, but I make it now. You buy them.
Oh, you can buy cracklings and
sure.
And you make the bread.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not as greasy and it's good tasting. Everybody don't like grease, but I don't mind it.
Do you cook every day or?
Mm-hmm.
Every day.
Yeah. Usually have eggs most of the time.
Yeah. Well, hey, you can't go wrong on those eggs. That's pretty good.
Because eggs are good for you.
Yeah.
And I like raw vegetables too.
Yeah. Well, you just healthy as you can be, aren't you?
As far as
You
my
eat
stomach
good.
is concerned, I'm like Miss Little Holloway when he got Haddock come out.
Yeah. Haddock, that had alcohol in it, I believe.
That's what it was. She said, I'll tell you, that's the best medicine in the world, and I'll put my stomach up against anybody's. And I thought, I'm sugar it, he made her say, he got to laughing.
Uh-huh.
Oh, she said that.
She didn't know she was drinking alcohol.
She said, he made me mad. She told him off.
Huh.
Miss Sugar did.
Uh-huh.
Now, she was another good friend.
Yeah.
Little Holloway was.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not remembering as good as I once did. Well, she said, don't tell nobody, they won't know it.
That's probably true. All right. Well, we've got to go. Thank you again for coming in to visit with me. Pleased to have as my guest today Ms. Allie Clark, who's 96 years young, and as you can tell from the interview, still full of vim and vinegar. We're glad to have her come in and reminisce with us, get our 2006 programs off to a good start. So thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you again soon on another edition of Frankly Franklin.